Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and most especially police officers. Mr. Gray, we're happy to see you once again. Now, the police are pretending not to be our friends. Yes. Why I'm saying this because anytime we call this meeting, you're always here for us. We thank you. And my brother said something here. Like you can see, a lot of people are not here because it's Wednesday. We want to make it also the best way for us. And on behalf of those who are not here, please forgive us. Now, Mr. Simon, I come to you. From your opening remarks, you say you are quite new, 3 months. I think you are very new. But from your statement, I have to stand up to ask you questions. Before I go further, you talk about cultural. As I'm standing here, I'm a cultured man. I can even perform immediately for you. I can perform immediately for you. And my name is Kudunga, Enugu State Association. When it comes to Nigeria, we are number 1, culturally wise, at any second. You say that. We are going to give it to you. But my question directly to you is this. Nigerians are not happy with Netherlands. Socially, economically, and whatever. You people should make us happy so that we can give you the best of what we have. We have a lot in abundance. A lot. Come what may. But we're not happy. And it's very touching to all of us. That is why you see a lot of us slacking. We can, make this country become another level. But you people not neglect us. Now, culturally, far back during the Kwaku, yesteryears, I'm talking about 1999, here in Netherlands, 2000. I'm a participant, everything. That is where you see Nigeria flow. A lot of cultural groups in attendance, performing. All of a sudden, everything disappeared because they don't want to see Nigeria. What have we done to you people? No, I'm serious. Now we want to come back based on what you said. And I'm happy. You take it upon yourself to make it nice. We are ready to do the best. Make sure we're happy. This is my question.
Work together to create a better situation. Because I understand what you mean. I also live in Southeast, so I see inequality. And I also read the data that when you look at the school results of Nigerian children, it's not the same as a school result in Canada or US or in England, where Nigerian children do the best of all groups. And why not in the Netherlands? What is the case? So I think that should be our ambition, and we can only achieve that when we work together. So it's not only me, or it's together. So let's help each other, and let's make agreements, a plan, a strategy, the coming time together.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have a question for the Vice Forsitter as well. I think in your opening statement, you made mention of how we can work together to see better representation of people with African background in the political system here. And I was wondering, from your position, whether the city government currently has a certain strategy to sort of achieve that, whether there are any quotas that you have set, for example, to say by this amount of time, maybe in 2030 or so, we want to have this many of this percentage of people being represented in the city government. I was wondering if there are any policies like that at the moment, and whether you are also willing perhaps to make certain commitments to try to achieve something like that.
In first instance, thank you for your
Can we add another question that you can answer all together?
And then maybe for my colleagues here, also questions, because I don't want to take too much space. My sister.
Okay, all right, go ahead, sir.
In first instance, I also want to add that I must be careful with promise. Yes, I'm going to do this, and next year this will be arranged. You know, I want to state that first. I can only say I will try my best, and we can only make steps if we do it together. Your question is, yes, as a city government, we have a policy and type of quota. Also, the police has it. That there should be more representation and more diversity. Also in Southeast, we have it. There should be more what we have to do, because it's not good enough. But when you focus more on the representation of West African people who live in Southeast, I think there should be another type of strategy. That should be a more community strategy, I think. Connected to people who are now in government, maybe, or people who are working at the police. What is needed for having more police people with an African background, or people in institutions, people who are chairmen of schools. You know, I want to see that more. We don't have that enough. I think maybe 2 people in the whole city. The Stadsdeel organization, 2, 3, or 4, have an African background. That is way, that is not even filtered. So we as a city government, we have a type of policy in general, but I think there is more we need to do. I think we should identify who are the people who have those type of leadership quality, those young people. We should guide them as a community. Guide them and show them the system, how it works, traineeships maybe. Yeah, I think that other type of strategy is needed, but I don't have the total answer yet.
Well, if it is for the police, what I can fairly say is, like a dialogue meeting like we have it now, this is one of the parts that we are trying to better connect with the community. If you look at our selection program for new police officers, it's now officially stated that it's completely made for white people in the 70s. So all the questions, all the selection tools that are made for white people, for example. So they don't have the feelings when you have a different cultural background. For example, when you do there's also a test where you need to role play with somebody who's playing somebody who's mental ill or is a suspect, and you need to use your communication to settle the case. They always look with the Eurocentric glasses to how you solve the problem, because we, as people with an African background, for example, we do different to situations. We handle them differently. But it doesn't say that those ways we interact with somebody else is not good. It's another way of solving a problem. So now they're working with how can we change that program. Well, that's something which is on a national level. And in Amsterdam, we now have programs where youngsters, for example, I have one boy who is from Nigerian descent. He had a security guard diploma, and he came to me and said, I want to go to the police, but I don't know if I can make the test. So I now set him in a program. We have a special program where every Thursday, people who are interested in going to the police, they can go there, they can train, they can do all the tests, and only when they pass all the tests in the training evenings, then they will be sent to officially register them for the selection program. So, for example, they already trained it, so it's easy to walk by. So they know, how do you call it? They know which trick they need to use to go into the selection program. Because the selection program is not inclusive enough. So that's something that we are now doing as Amsterdam Police, for example, Southeast, where we said, well, if there are people who have a diploma from high school, or and they want to come to the police and they don't know if they meet the qualifications, please ask me, because I know the recruiters, and then we can sell it. We can help them through the progress to become police officers, because we also need police officers with Nigerian background. We don't have them. We have 2 or 3 Ghanaian police officers with Ghanaian descent in the Amsterdam police force, and in the Dutch police force maybe 5. So West African communities are not well represented inside the police force. So please, we need you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, let's. You want to say something?
Yeah. Sometimes we will say, first of all, you need to have a diploma. But now, if you don't have a diploma, but you have, that's something else. You need to have a Dutch passport, because it's a safety issue. But if you have a Dutch passport and you don't have a high school diploma, you can also do a test to test your mental capacity. And when you reach the MBO line, then you can also, with that test, you can also register for the police program.
Okay, so this is for both men and women. So the ladies here enter the police force.
Especially also women. We also need women. We have too much men.
Not all women.
If you want, you're welcome. You're welcome. We need women. Yeah.
Good evening, all. Yeah, my name is Teresa. You know, I was here last time. I discussed with you, and we always meet anywhere we go. Always talk. Then my person is, last time I told us, if you are coming this time, you have to come one with the mayor. I told you that you are the mayor, you are the IND, you are the politician. Last time I met you, you said yes. But now you came here again without them. I don't feel so good.
Okay.
Now you are part of us. You're Nigerian now. You can now feel the way we feel. Like sometimes some of us are here, let's say 10 years, 20 years, they are illegal, you don't have papers. Think how, as a human being, forget a policeman, as a human being, how are they surviving? Some of them too can know, let's say, can know how to do hair, can know how to do mechanic, can know how to do maybe hard work. But if they are illegal, they cannot do it. Yes. Number one. Number two, if you can come next time with the IND or with the mayor to let us talk about some of these problems that we have as a Nigerian. It used to eat me up. That you can see somebody is here like 20 years, she's illegal. So let us think about it as a human being and know what to do. That one's number one. Number two, some people are here too, they have Dutch passport, but they don't have a house. They will have a house, they'll kick them out. Think as a human being, how will you feel that you have suffered here, you stay here for a long time, the sufferance of getting a paper, you went to school, you get a passport, and they cannot give you a house. It's a problem. Some too have a shop, they kick them out. Some too have a shop, they don't have peace in their shop. Police are stopping them. So we have problems. So let's talk about it. Then let's also go in the care session. Some people too are nursing back home in Nigeria, but they here, they cannot speak Dutch, they cannot go and do that work. So let's also think about people who can use their skill to do that work. Maybe if they don't speak Dutch, you cannot work. So it's so sad. Like now, if you want to be a policeman that you cannot speak good in Dutch, you cannot, but you want to do it. We must be good Dutch. So they have to think about all these problems in the Netherlands, not only culture, but as a human being, what we are passing through in this land is too much for us. Thank you. God bless you.
that, I first want to respond because when she told me, yeah, it's true, I'm ID and everything. But for example, for the next time also, because at first I spoke to, I talked to Larry and Helen. We talked about what kind of issues. Because of what the issues are, then I can arrange somebody to answer those questions. So immigration was not this part, but it's not excuse, but I know you feel what you said. About the other part you said, as a human being, what you are suffering, what you are facing. Because of being here, I'm more known about what the issues are in the community, because I didn't know all those issues. You're now telling me, and last time I felt so. This is also for me very important to know what are the issues we are facing as a community. So I can also think about what can we do as police, for example, to take some of those issues away, or that we can, when we work with the community, that we know what the issues are, so we can think about what our actions could be to make it better, and not always to make sure that you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But try to communicate about educating, or about helping, or about sending you the right way to make sure that you not get in trouble or anything else. Can I answer someone, because we discussed something that we can announce, we need to discuss and we couldn't announce it, but for instance, we now have in Southeast, there is a platform. It's called Southeast Undocumented Network, and also I'm also part of the network, and more than 40 organizations are working now. We're working for a new place where undocumented people can go to. We're going to call it the Wushu House. Wushu House, we're going to call it, and it's going to come at Ganshoef. And that's the place for people who are undocumented. With any questions they have, they can go there, can ask the questions. Myself as a police officer, I will be there also when people have safety issues, they can discuss with us. But also for healthcare, for housing, for jobs, for example, all the questions will be answered there and can be answered there. So I think in the last quarter of this year it will open, but I will keep you posted because it's something unique in the Netherlands. There will be a place where undocumented people can go and ask all the questions. So we need to wait for that, but then maybe can some questions that you have can also be directed there.
Yeah, and please, the first question I asked to the deputy forester, maybe Mr. Greg, you can help us to ask or help me to answer it. Please, I ask you, what criteria or qualification in Nigeria, whether old or small, can have to work in Southeast Kamente without going through Peru, without going through Peru, working direct, even if you're school marking in the local government.
So it doesn't matter what type of work within the local government, city government?
Yes, the person can work and directly employment.
I think it's good to have a network. Know people who work there so you can get information, like having a vacancy. So I think that's the first thing, to have good contact and network, and of course it depends on the type of job, but I think you should be documented, or you should having a staying permit. And if you want to be active in politics. It's good to have a strategy. It's good to have a strategy to be active in the politics, and to become a deputy mayor or an alderman. I think it's also good to have a network with the political parties, etc. So I think the first thing is having a network, I would say.
Maybe send us the network.
It's a really broad question, but yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll take 2 more questions and I think we finish.
It's not a question. Hello, my name is Maria. I just want to appreciate all of you, especially Mr. Kimberly. I don't know if you remember me, but there was something you did for me that you remember that? Yeah. Yeah, like they said, police is your friend. It's true that they're your friends if you run to them. There was a time a policeman was actually disturbing me in my shop, and I ran to him, and he actually did something. And that was like a year or 2 years ago. I never seen them since then. So I'm really grateful for your efforts. Thank you for coming, and we hope that we'll keep doing this. Thank you.
Good evening, all. My question will sound a little bit controversial, but I'm just concerned because there's no smoke without fire. It's an adage in where I'm coming from. My concern, Netherlands are very smart people. They are intelligent people. Bringing us back to our heritage, to our kids, I hope it's not a way or it's not a tool for them to, you know what I mean? To differentiate them, because they are born here. And most of them don't even know the Africa we are talking about. Some of them have not been there, they don't know anything. And then now you're bringing them back to their heritage, teaching them their heritage in a foreign land and not in their origin land. I hope it's not something sneaky, and that's just my concern. Because our kids are being born here, and they have the rights. Just as a Dutch person has the right here. Because if a Dutchman is also born in Nigeria, they claim to be a Nigerian, which I have also seen. And they claim to be typical Nigerian, even saying, forget about the white color, they are blacks. So I hope it's not going to be something that is going to lead to that level in future. That's my concern. Thank you.
I think that's a really fair question. I want to say that it's not part of a policy of people or an agreement I made with people. It's just my vision. It's just because I think it's important as a person who grew up here in Southeast, as a black man. I think that's important because I think when we are talking about a lot of issues we have in society, I think we can solve a lot of those issues when children feel a sense of self-respect or self-value. And I think it has to do, it starts with your identity. Who are you? To say it shortly, one of the reasons why I did some things with diversity or proposing something like a national slavery museum was because I was speaking with some friends of mine. And this will sound controversial. I was discussing years ago with some friends of mine, and that friend, he had an opinion and idea that white people are more intelligent than black people. He was convinced, like it's a fact. And I've heard that too much of our children at young age, they don't have the eigenwaarde or the self-respect or the self-love enough they should have. And that concerns me. And that's the reason why I said when we want to solve a lot of the issues, for example, the school results of our children were not good enough, we should start there. That's the reason.
So it is your own initiative, or it's not coming from the government, no. It's just your own initiative?
Yes.
It's your own initiative?
Yes. It's a really good question. I didn't expect it. Yeah, you would come.
Good evening, sir. And my name is Caroline. I'm not a Nigerian, but very close to Nigeria. Yeah, from Bakassi, it's okay. Yeah. So I have two questions for my police brothers. One, what are some of the challenges you guys are facing in the community at the moment? And secondly, there is a difference between the way children are brought up. And I think there is a very, I don't know whether you can say a fine line or an issue with discipline. Not only for the African children, but I think even for the Dutch children. There are so many children who are very disrespectful right now in society. And if I want to discipline my child at home, the child says, I'm going to call police for you. I said, okay, pick up the phone and call the police. So in that case, what happened? Because I've seen a scenario where the police were able, they took the child away, and the mother did not know where the child was. And she went to the police. I actually went to the police station with her to find out where is the child. And they wouldn't tell where the child was. But they told her, the child was not even 18, it was 16 years old. They said the child, we're keeping the child whether safe. I don't know, safe from the parent? No. The children need to be disciplined to some extent. So in that case, when you have a scenario like that with parents and they tell you it's a quote unquote youth protection or something, isn't that, can't we find I think a middle ground where we can say that yes, the children need protection, but you can't be protecting the child from a parent who wants to discipline the child for doing something wrong. And yet we end up with children who are so ruthless, so on the street, so wayward, and because of the lack of this discipline, and they said it's because of the law to protect the children. I don't think so. I think the law is to some extent actually destroying children. So can we find a way, from a solution perspective, can we find a way where those laws can be, I think we can measure them to the extent where I love my child, I want to see them do well, but when they do wrong, I have to correct them as a child. But then without being afraid that, hey, the police is going to come after me or going to separate me from my children. So what do we do in that case?
Two very good questions. Let me start with the easy one. It's the first one. When you ask me what are we facing now in the community, do you mean only the Nigerian community or the whole community Southeast? In general, okay. What we now see in general is that especially youngsters and young guys from Southeast, black youngsters, let's say the way it is, it hurts me that we see that a lot of them are now participating in crime, and serious crime. International drug trafficking, for example. We see them in the harbors here in Amsterdam, Antwerp, Rotterdam, and we see that a lot of young boys come from Southeast and who are taking out containers with containing drugs in the harbor. That is something that is concerning me, because when I see the percentage of youngsters who come from Southeast, and due to all the youngsters who are now being caught in the harbor, and the percentage of Southeast youngsters is the highest of all. It's not from Rotterdam, not from Den Helder or another city, no, from Southeast. So that's something which is concerning me, and that's the reason why I said, well, your children really check what they're doing online, because they're being groomed online to do a quick job for 5,000 euros. They think it's easy money, but when they get caught, it's serious time in prison. That's one thing. The second thing is the same thing where Southeast is one of the main participants in is placing explosives at houses here in the Netherlands. Also, a high percentage is from Southeast. The youngsters from all communities in Southeast. But especially the one thing where they have in common, they are all black. That's something which is concerning me. And the other part is the violence, what we now see underneath youngsters, underneath young adults, where they're using weapons, knives, guns, to settle their beef, to settle their disopinions. So I think that's something that we are now facing. And we're now trying how can we get in front of that, how we can activate the community to stand with us to make sure that youngsters are not taking the way to commit a crime. Because we only see that they all get caught and they get in prison, and for example when you get out, you can't get a job, you have a criminal record, and their future is destroyed. That's something we want to prevent. Question number one. Question number two, that's a difficult one. Because I know the issue, and I know the issue here in Southeast, for example. We also had this conversation with the Ghanaian community, for example, here. But Dutch law says you're not allowed to abuse someone. And when you hit someone, it is abuse. That's what Dutch law says. So I can't change anything about the law. But what I also can see, I'm also a parent, and what I see with my little girl, I know she's more outgoing. She has more opinions than I had when I was young. Because when I was young, my father always said, I'm going to kick you. And then I was, okay. Now, I can't say that to my youngster because I said, well, I'm going to tell the teacher. Okay, that's not the issue. But it's true, they know their rights as children now. And that's something which is a very, how you say it? It's yeah, it's colliding, it's conflicting with our cultural way of, well, let's say, how we were brought up. And for me, it was a challenge. How can I discipline my girl, because I have a girl, without hitting her? I found a way here. But Dutch law says you're not allowed to abuse someone. And when you hit someone, it is abuse. That's what Dutch law says. So I can't change anything about the law. But what I also can see, I'm also a parent, and what I see with my little girl, I know she's more outgoing. She has more opinions than I had when I was young. Because when I was young, my father always said, I'm going to kick you. And then I was, okay. Now, I can't say that to my youngster because I said, well, I'm going to tell the teacher. Okay, that's not the issue. But it's true, they know their rights as children now. And that's something which is a very, how you say it? It's yeah, it's colliding, it's conflicting with our cultural way of, well, let's say, how we were brought up. And for me, it was a challenge. How can I discipline my girl, because I have a girl, without hitting her? I found a way. It's a way. It's more. It asks more of your mental state. Let's say it like that. But there are ways to discipline your child without hitting the child. But the children know. But when we get called by a child who says, I'm abused by my parents, we always go to the house and we need to check the whole story. What's the parent's story? What's the child's story? When we see a child who has bruises, or for instance, the belt of his parents on his arm, for example, then it's not. Then we take the child away because of that's our job. We need to make sure that the child is protected and is not being hit. I did child abuse cases for 5 years, but serious child abuse cases. And I mean cases where people are breaking legs of babies, for example, or hitting children repeatedly for years, and they have bruises. Those are the severe cases. But for instance, when you have an issue with your child and your child is very rude to you, and you hit your child and he calls the police, you're always going to check what's the story. What did you do? What's the state? But what we need to do, that's something that we need to do in Holland, we need to make reports to Child Protective Services. It doesn't mean that Child Protective Services is taking your child. They're always going to check what is happening, what's the story from both sides, and is the child in danger? That's the main question. Is the child in danger? If we think that the child is in danger, we take the child immediately away. So we stand at the house, we call to our child support service, they come, we make a decision, and we take the child away, and child support services do it, and we arrest the parents, or we ask them to come later for interview. That's a possibility. But my opinion, and maybe you can maybe you see it otherwise because he's doing more the 911 calls than me. But my experience is that we always check about both stories. Even in the severe cases, it's not always the story that the parents get separated from the children. Even then, there will be a conversation. But I know that Child Protective Services is a monster in the Southeast. And like they also said that they made mistakes in the past about how they judge cases, especially in parts of Southeast. So we are we as police are now very good looking at what is the case and what are we writing in the report to the Child Protective Services. Sometimes I write down, well, there has been a fight between son and mother. There has been mother hit the child on the arm, for example. But I don't see that there is any problems or that the child is in danger. I think parents need to have help with how they can interact with the child who's being very rude, for example. So Child Protective Services can also be the one to support you. And most of the times they will try to use OKT, which is a part of, which is a very low level help, where they can help you how you need to interact with your child. And I know that OKTs especially have people from different cultural backgrounds, so they can also relate to your own background about what you have learned from home, what you have learned from your culture, and what is the state of the children now versus the culture, because we see those collide a lot. I hope I've answered your questions, but I think...
I don't even know how to put this question now, because I notice in Western world, they don't beat children. It's like, I don't know if to say they don't caution them. That is why it's like the police, let me put it like that, gave them the authority to misbehave.
The authority, no?
Yes, to misbehave, because any small thing they will tell you. I think the police, they always give them, is it 112? Call the police, anything you call the police. You know, so that is why the children are always misbehaving.
Yes.
Any little thing, they have this confidence that the police is backing them, no matter what they do. So they always call the police. But in Africa, it's not like that. We discipline our children a lot.
That is why the culture is coming.
That is why the culture is coming. If you people will allow us, please, to discipline our kids in Europe, same way we give them, no, not give them, at least discipline them the way we discipline them in Africa, I think the society will be in a better place, because the children are really misbehaving. So to say, I'm sorry to say that is the truth.
I understand your difficulty in your question, and the only thing is, I think there won't be a law here in Western countries where it's allowed to hit your child. And
no, to her question, like me, I myself am a mother. I have a son. He's 22 years now. Me actually, I don't really believe in beating a child. Like, I don't really like some parents. They really beat child. Really, I don't believe in that. Like when my child was growing up, if he does anything wrong, I know the way to punish him. Like I know that he always go out with his friends and they had fun outside. Then I will stop him going out with his friend, maybe like for 1 week.
Yes.
You will not go to your friend and they are not coming to you.
Yes.
Then I will keep him indoor. When you come back from school, you stay at home and do your homework. You are not going out. Sometimes I seize the game from him. Yes. You will not play your PlayStation because you have done a wrong thing. So you see, at the time you start begging me, Mama, please, I will not do that again. Mama, please, I will not do that again. So I don't really believe in beating a child. So I don't know. Yeah.
I can understand, because what you're saying, that's also my style with my daughter. She knows when she likes to watch TV or she likes to do something. Yeah. And what I do when she is not listening, then I take one of the freedoms away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say, well, oh, you want to. What I see a lot of parents do is that, oh, you do something, give me your phone, because the phone is now taped to the hand. Yeah. It's one thing for a lot of youngsters, but if you take the phone, some of them, they get completely mad because they lose their phone. But it's a punishment without hitting them. But you can say, take your phone. And if a child calls the police and says, yeah, my mother took my phone, the only thing that you're going to say, then you did something wrong. Then you need to get punished. Now we're going away.
To ask Mr. Bambo, my namesake, to come and give us a vote of thanks. And after that, we can say bye-bye. Please come up and bless us. I will receive the You're supposed to be my co-pilot in the cockpit, but you left all the job to me.
Yes, the significance of dialoguing is to find a solutions to the problems in the community. And we have discussed a lot of things. And as a matter of fact, this is not a true representative of the Nigerians here in the Netherlands. We have discussed immigration problem, police problem, and we need to distinguish, between the function and the role of police and immigration. So maybe you can as well, in the next dialogue, just have that in mind, because from the school of thought that we understand from Nigeria or from Africa is that we have three organs of government: the legislative, the judiciary, and also the executive. Thank you very much. But maybe because of the language barrier, or maybe this and that, there's a little bit confusion. We are not really understand the extent of the roles of the police, the judiciary, and immigration. That is to solve the immigration problem. Because I, as a person, I am a victim of that. I don't really know who is to listen to the immigration. Maybe they are police or not, because they don't listen, or maybe they thought maybe they are superior to the judiciary or not. So a lot of things, that's the problem of immigration. And our honorable ambitious, we appreciate you coming. You are representing the government of these houses. And what you have made mention, I think, it's a very good thing. Culturally, we need to get to know each other, because there's a conflict between the African community, the original Africa, and the people from the South Americans, the Curaçao, the Suriname, So maybe this era, we're going to settle it amicably with each other. And on that note, I would like to let you know that on the 2020 year, the Imperial Majesty from Nigeria, the owner of Ife, will be coming to Netherlands. And this is what we want to do 2020.
met you. I'm a businessman. I read international business management, but we need to learn from you. On that note, we would like to, on behalf of all Nigerians community,